What is the stupidest thing you've done just to show you could do it? My partner was a heavy smoker, and at the time, I'd never touched a cigarette. I would subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, but always lovingly, urge her to quit. She told me I had no idea how hard it was. I decided to take up smoking for about a month and then quit just to show her I could do it. That was 10 years ago. I'm on a pack a day. She no longer smokes. A buddy bet I couldn't finish the spiciest chicken sandwich at this joint known for insanely spicy chicken in under 30 minutes. I knew I fricked up when they gave me gloves to eat the sandwich so the sauce couldn't touch my skin and made me sign a waiver. Won the bet, but really I lost in the end. Cliff diving. Saw an old man do a front flip off a 40-foot cliff. I said if he can do it, so can I. I did the flip all right, followed by a belly flop that Zeus could hear. Knocked the air out of me, but luckily people were floating nearby to save my dumb ass. In 2001, my sister got me a Sony phone, a tiny little thing with a flip-down front. She worked in a phone shop and got discount. On the box, it said the phone was waterproof and there were tiny rubber seals in places. I believed them. At the pub where I worked, this aspect came up in conversation. Some guy said the phone couldn't be waterproof, and that showerproof was probably more accurate. Remembering the box, I argued the point. And dropped my phone into a pint of beer in an effort to prove it. I was wrong. Brutal but well-earned life lesson. Walked through the brush of our tree line to get a football to prove it wasn't poison ivy. I did it. I got the football. It was poison ivy. In grade school, maybe age 11 or 12, I had these cheap jeans. I figured out that I could flex my belly and pop the button open, found this funny, and guy friends in class got a laugh too. One of them turns to a girl, "Hey girl, check out what op can do." I flexed my belly and let out a huge fart while the button popped open. She turned away, my buddy laughed, and I never did this trick again. I used to work at a shitty movie theater. As it gets to midnight all the employees hang out behind the concessions counter and shoot the shit, eat the popcorn before we have to throw it out, etc. One of them dared someone to do a butter shot. But like, the liquid butter for popcorn is way closer to straight oil. So an oil shot. I'm always a slut for attention, so I said pass it to me and I downed it without letting myself think about the consequences. It tasted like liquid plastic and I hated it, but everyone was howling and incredulous and I felt cool for a whole minute. Shat my brains out the next morning. Worth it. Won a donut eating contest. In 10 minutes I ate about 17 donuts. And seconds before the time was up and I had all my thoughts set on having a hearty cleansing puke, a mother fricker who wasn't even taking part yelled that throwing up afterwards should disqualify you. Somebody counted that I took in a few days worth of calories. My appetite came back 2 days after. I told my 6th grade friends I could just off a 2-story roof and not get hurt. Guess who only got a scraped knee that day? Not me. I broke my leg. Parkour people, on the other hand, can do a safety roll and be mostly unharmed aside from some mild pain. When I was 6 I stapled my fingers because I had convinced all of my friends that I had iron hands. I was around that age too and I was fiddling around with a stapler and stapled my pointer fingers together. It was the skin just next to the nails so it barely hurt. I went downstairs to tell my mom, who was doing laundry, that I stapled my fingers together. I still remember the look on her face to this day. Parents put a curfew on the computer when I was 12 during summer break. No gaming from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. A reasonable person would go to bed at 10 to 10:30 and wake up at 7 to play, right? 12-year-old me just stayed up until 6 a.m., woke up my parents, and played until noon, then died until dinner. Rinse and repeat for a few days until my parents got sick of waking up at 6 a.m. Then I went back to gaming until like 2 a.m. Edit, holy shit, this blew up. To answer some recurring questions. They physically locked the computer room. I could not get access to the room without breaking the lock. And I wasn't going to do that. I don't recall the game exactly, my gut feeling is survival project, though. Yes, I understand your parent and or you would have just changed the opening time to 8 a.m. noon 8 p.m. But my parents taught us to stick to our word. If a contract between parties was made, it couldn't be changed without agreement from both parties or extenuating circumstances. An oversight on someone's part isn't enough. It cut both ways. If we made a promise to our parents, we were expected to uphold it as well. I, at age like 9 to 10, wanted a cookie that my friend had. Said friend proceeded to completely lick the entire cookie. Still, want it? He said, holding it out. Dumbass me proceeded to grab it and eat it in one bite. Total power move looking back on it. When I was around 12, I was neglecting to flush my piss. Too busy playing Armored Core, so my dear mother brings me into the bathroom, and tells me if I don't flush next time, she's going to dip my hands in the piss. I looked at her, made a hammer fist, smashed it in the toilet, covered myself in piss, only a little on her, thank God. I wasn't even a malicious child, just salivated at the opportunity to show I could withstand the punishment and was thus unafraid. I was about 4 years old and my grandfather was making something with buttermilk. I saw it in his hand, and I cried and screamed and begged to have some. He kept saying no, you won't like it. But I persisted. He finally poured me an entire glass. I took one swig and I'm sure he could see the disgust on my face, because he looked like he had won. I stared at him right in his eyeballs as I chugged the entire glass. I proved to myself that it's possible to eat 5 kilos of shrimp in one sitting. I also proved that eating 5 kilos of shrimp in one sitting will make you very, very sick. Played that stupid freaking 5-finger fillet game with a compass back when I was in school. As I got more confidence I obviously got faster and inevitably the point went right into the side of my fingertip. Fricking idiot. Shoved my pointer finger into my nose up to second knuckle. I then got a sinus infection. Who knew? My daughter did that to me when she was 2. Then she hooked her finger and pulled. Had a terrible blood nose and for a few days if I sneezed it would start back up. 0-10 would not recommend. I stabbed my leg with a pencil in elementary school. I told people I couldn't really feel much pain, which, at the time, was true. There was a spot on my leg from the lead for years. Lol. I still have a piece of graphite in my left hand from getting stabbed with a pencil 33 years ago. Not me, but one of my former coworkers told us about the time he ate a tub of butter on a dare. He made it about halfway through and had to throw up. He said what came out was neon yellow. For the next month, the smell of butter made him gag, and when he perspired, he could still smell it. You'd think he'd learned, but he attempted the butter tub challenge a second time. This time, he paced himself and actually finished the whole thing. He said the frick up though was eating it before having to catch a train. While he was waiting, his heart was racing and he felt so amped up, he did push-ups and jumping jacks at Penn Station. Chugged way too much apple cider vinegar. Huge mistake. As a kid, I told my friends I could hold my breath for a long time, long enough to pass out, in fact. And that's exactly what I proceeded to do. My friends and used to have those breathing contests in the pool where you go underwater and see who could hold in their breath the longest. I'm a really competitive person, so of course, I won. I passed out in the pool when I was 9 doing this. The lifeguard was too busy flirting to care and he thought I was faking it. Ate the largest box of goldfish in one night in college. Don't do this. One friend gets super creeped up when someone starts running at him like a dog. My friend realized I'm an expert in running like a dog. Snuck into the Hilton and confiscated a white robe, got caught and they let me go without checking my backpack. That's alcohol for you. Peed on the ceiling. I have strong peeing muscles. I let a black widow spider bite me to prove that they were venomous but not deadly. I also won a $150 bet. I was learning MMA for 3 months when some guy challenged me to a fight. I immediately accepted it because I wanted to impress my crush by beating him. Turns out he was a national champion and was in the state for an MMA tournament. I got my ass kicked for solid 3 rounds. Was trying to do this stunt on a dirt bike to impress this dude, ended up falling and breaking my collarbone. RIP. And then you guys got married, right? He's married now with kids. And well, me, I am still single. Put a cigarette out on my arm, Logan style, X-Men, because some dudes in my class didn't believe me when I told them I don't feel much pain in the arms. I still don't, but got a real bad infection. The beating of a lifetime from my mom, first and last beating I ever got, just for my stupidity, and the scar on my arm is, luckily, not big but kind of ugly. Let someone shock my wrist with a dog's shock collar. He called me a pussy. I had no other choice. I had a high tolerance for pain in high school. Definitely got tased a bunch because we thought it was funny. I mean, it was funny, but it was dumb. Running into doors at full speed, putting staples in my stomach. I was dumb. Let a friend tase me in the butt for 1,000 pesos, about 30 US cents Lamau. The cinnamon challenge. I've always been good at those weird food challenges, so I did it pretty easily. But some people really fricked up their lungs trying it. There comes a point in every drunk man's life where he finds himself standing on the edge of a precipice, apartment building roof, staring into the distance at glory, a freaking tree, separated from him by a challenge, a 3-story fall. The weak man will shrug his shoulders, slink back to safety, and carry on with his night as if he never glimpsed what could have been. But the bold, stupid man will look across the chasm and see the greatness that awaits him on the other side. He will stride to the edge, hand off the extra reserve of courage, beer, that he no longer needs for what must be done. He will stare into the heavens and proclaim into the night, I can jump that far. It turns out that I could not jump that far. Remain standing through as much Taser as possible. My friend used up the battery on himself and said he was trying to get used to it. He said that eventually he would be able to remain standing. I said what the hell and tried. It's not easy fighting electroconvulsive action. We tasted ourselves and each other a bunch of times. I don't think we got better at resisting it. I say taser bit, I really mean stun gun, no prongs. Punched a giant plate glass window out of a jewelry shop in Palm Springs when I was 21. Total drunk PP energy, window slashed my hand wide open, and all I remember is seeing my buddy sprinting away when the store alarm started blaring. My other friend picked me up in front of the store, blood was literally spraying out of my hand all over his back seat, and he got me to hospital and into ICU. When emergency room doctor pulled out 6-inch needle I passed out cold. Woke up about 12 hours later with a throbbing headache, bandages up hand. Finals started the next week and I couldn't write with my left hand, so had to use my right. Also took me a good year to get my dexterity back to play guitar. Total asshole move on my part. Many hot sauce related things. Crushing beers on my forehead. Still stupid. I'll still do it. Ate 2% of my body weight in chicken nuggets. Similarly, got high one night, ordered 4 to 20-piece McNuggets, think I got to 52 before puking then tried to eat more after that. Haven't really had McNuggets since. Drank a ridiculous amount of alcohol for my body weight to show off to a date. She had to drive herself back to her town, with my friends with benefit that joined us for the night in the passenger seat. And me dying in the back of my own vehicle from a rotten case of alcohol poisoning. Never, fricking, again. Not surprised she wasn't into me after that. Hell, I wouldn't be into me after that.